G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of A Peek Behind the Lines, our interview series with touring artists here at Destroyer Lines. Today's guest is a doozy, what an absolute prog god, one of the best people to ever hit a drum with a stick, Mr. Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater. How you going, Mike?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Bit of a thrill to be talking to you on the eve of your 40th anniversary Australian tour. How does it feel to be back behind the kit for Dream Theater?
It's been amazing. It's been it's been over 2 years now since I've been back, so I guess I'm kind of getting used to it at this point. But we spent the first year making a new album with Parasomnia, and then we spent the past year on the road. We've been on the road since October 2024. So by the time we make it down there to you guys, we'll be approaching a year and a half into the tour at this point. But great to finally come back down to Australia. It's been a while for both me and the band, so looking forward to it.
Australia's been waiting a very long time. You're correct. I believe it's been 17 years since we saw you behind the kit with Dream
Yeah.
Theater Down Under. So the
Yeah.
fact you're coming back for an evening with format is a nice way of making up for that. Now, the evening with format, of course, is going to see you playing with no supports, just Dream Theater, about 3 hours of music. Uh, that's got to be exhausting, man. How are you still doing this at this age?
Yeah, it is exhausting, to be honest. It's a long show. It's about 3 hours, two sets with an intermission. And we're some of us are in our late 50s, some of the guys are in their 60s already. And it's a lot. It's a massive undertaking, but I think Dream Theater fans really prefer this format than coming down there with an opening band and stuff. I think the songs are very long. There's a lot to the music, so I think our fan base that they want as much as they could possibly get in one experience.
You do have some quite dedicated fans.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
best.
you have the people that want to hear the 23-minute song.
Exactly.
And yeah, pretty hard to squeeze those into a typical set, I'd imagine. Now, speaking of sets, man, you are known as one of the most, I'm going to call it talented setlist curators going around in the world of progressive music. And it appears that you've taken back the reins of building the sets for this tour. How do you go about crafting a set list that does justice to 40 years of a band's legacy?
It was a little easier for me than you would think because I had been away for so long. So coming back, it was like having a fresh palette to work with. I was no longer burnt out on Pull Me Under or burnt out on Metropolis because I had been away from it for all this time. Can't say the rest of can't say the same for the rest of the guys, but for me, it's all fresh. And writing a set for to cover 40 years of a band. I went for the songs that are the classics, the ones that are the fan favorites, and tried to balance out all of the different eras as best as I could. But it's definitely, it's going to make up for a little lost time because I hadn't been there in a while, and Dream Theater hasn't been there in a while, and myself with Dream Theater hasn't been there since I don't know, at least 15 years or so at this point. So I think it's going to make up for lost time, and I think people are going to love the show.
It's pretty awesome. There must be a balancing act that you've got to do though. Like, because as a musician, I know what it's like. You've written a new record, you really want to go out there and play these new songs to the people,
Yeah,
but you're also trying to slot in everyone's favorite song and maybe a deep dive, and you've got to put something in there
exactly.
for the purist. Uh, what does the balance look like from your perspective? Is it like you've got a formula where you put, three big songs and then a rarity, or is it just
Well,
what you want to play?
it's been hard for us to have made a new album, which was Parasomnia. We spent 2024 in the studio making that album. And then we started touring. So we did an entire European tour and an entire South American tour while sitting on this new album before it was even released. So it was, I guess it was good because it gave us a chance to get our footing back with me back in the band and not have to worry about the new material at first and just concentrate on the whole catalog stuff. But then once the album came out at the beginning of 25, we were itching to play it, but we still had an entire North American tour and an entire summer tour to do before we can actually come around to it. So it's been hard to, we're anxiously wanting to play this new material, and we finally started. So last September, we finally started the Parasomnia tour and performing that in its entirety, which is more of the focus of the last American tour we did. But now coming down to Australia, we kind of had to reshift back to the 40th anniversary show because we don't want to neglect the Australian fans from experiencing the big 40th anniversary celebration like the rest of the world got. So the set that we're going to be doing for you guys is kind of in between. It's got a lot of the old stuff like we've been doing on the 40th anniversary shows, but a little bit more of the new material than we have mixed into the 40th anniversary show. So it's a bit of a balance between the two.
Sounds like a dream for Dream Theater fans, I'll be honest. You get a chance
Yeah.
to hear what has been heralded as one of your, well, I'm not going to say it's been heralded as one of your better records because all of your records are considered good. It's been heralded as a breath of fresh air by fans, the Parasomnia
Thank you.
record. And it seems to be the work of a band that's revitalized as the people creating the band. Did you feel that the record came together quite well because of the fresh energy you brought returning?
Yeah, absolutely. We were really inspired making this record, just being back together again, because we hadn't made a record together with this lineup since Black Clouds and Silver Linings, which we made in 2008. So it had been, almost 15 years since we had written together and recorded together. And that in itself really inspired the session. We were just really excited to be creating together again. And the chemistry was there immediately. Immediately, first thing we wrote was Night Terror, and it just felt like so natural. And yeah, it's what inspired us. It was very exciting to be creating together again.
That's awesome. You can feel the energy on the record too, Eric, and it really just it seems like a band that is alive and firing on all cylinders. And has it been fun getting that music out in the live space?
Yeah, I mean, the album Parasomnia was kind of written to be performed in its entirety because the whole album takes place over the course of one night's sleep. The album begins with the listener falling asleep and the album ends with the listener waking up. So it was meant to be performed, like a movie or a book or a TV show or something like that. So, it was a little tease to just play a few of the songs throughout the 40th anniversary tour. But once we started doing the show that was playing the album in its entirety, it was very, very satisfying to finally have that outlet because it's a very cinematic kind of album that really should be, performed theatrically live on stage.
Now, your personal contributions to Parasomnia are quite interesting to listen to as someone who's been listening to your work for quite a while. I think nearly my entire life at this point. I'm curious, did the dark kind of moody element of the theme of the record influence the choices you made percussively?
Well, if you're talking about strictly drums, to be honest, that's usually the last thing I think about. Like when we're writing and composing and arranging, I'm thinking more about the big picture, the songwriting, the arrangement of the sections and the parts, the melodies, the vocal melodies. I'm thinking about all that stuff, just as equally as the drums, and sometimes, before the drums even begin. So I don't know, my contributions, like I don't know, I'm very involved with the arrangements and things like that. Also, the cinematic elements was something that I was really pushing for in the studio, utilizing voices and sound samples and things like that. Because if you listen to the older Dream Theater albums, I myself and Kevin Moore as well always brought those elements in. So if you listen to Awake or Images and Words or A Change of Seasons, we always sprinkled those movie samples throughout. And making this record, I really wanted those elements brought back in. So that was some of the stuff that I was really focusing on as well. But in terms of the drumming, I just do, I just play uh, for the song first and foremost. If it's a technical section, I'm gonna try to come out with some really crazy stuff. But if it's a vocal part, you got to be conscious and aware of that, and let that be the focus. And we when we write long songs, it's a certain way of writing. If we're trying to write a more concise song like Midnight Messiah or something, or Bend the Clock, that's another way of writing. But yeah, I don't know. The writing is always fun, and it's a very enjoyable process for us.
It sits on the more aggressive side of your collection. Is that what you're enjoying playing the most at this point in time in your career? The stuff that leans towards the heavier end of the Dream Theater spectrum?
Right. Yeah, you know what? I should have mentioned that because I guess your last question was asking about where the dark side came from. And it was the lyrical concept of Parasomnia that inspired the dark direction, like thematically and lyrically. But as far as musically, um, I always tend to gravitate towards the heavier stuff. I'm the biggest metalhead in the band, and so that's always been something that's always been an important element to bring to the table. And we, making this new album, we were very excited, and I think we just kind of naturally went in a darker, heavier direction. Kind of reminds me of the Train of Thought album in some ways, in that respect. I think that was just a natural energy that just came out. It could have been the lyrical topic though that surely inspired it.
Yeah, cool. Train of Thought's the record that my mind goes to too while listening to it, and that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there hoping that some of that material has made its way into the set list down under.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna have a little bit of everything at the show. Yep.
That's awesome. For you, when you're looking back at this 40 years of music and you're putting together the shows, uh, do you have any specific memories or experiences tied to your previous trips to Australia that are conjured by the prospect of coming back?
Well, I've been to Australia without Dream Theater uh, three times now. And the first two times I was in Australia was without Dream Theater. I came there for the first time, I think, in around 95 or 96. I did a drum clinic tour for Tama Drums. And then the first time I came down there with a band was on the G3 tour, playing with John Petrucci. But that was a tour we did with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani as well. So it wasn't until my third time to Australia that I was there with Dream Theater. And if my memory serves me correct, I think I've been there with Dream Theater twice. And the last time was, I believe, around 2008 or 9. I could be wrong there. And then I was there again without them on my Shattered Fortress tour when I was playing the 12-step suite. So I guess I've been there about 5 times now, and each and every time, it's just such a beautiful country. I absolutely love Australia. It reminds me a lot of the best qualities of America in a lot of ways, which is maybe why I love it so much. And the weather is always beautiful every time I've been there. The flight is brutal though. It's a long, long, long flight. But you guys make it worth it because the shows and the audiences are always so great.
The flight's long both ways. Let me let
That's
me
true.
confirm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's both a blessing and a curse being this
Yeah.
isolated from the rest of the planet. I am happy to hear that it reminds you of the positive elements of the United States. That's a nice thing
Yeah.
to be considered because those things are stuff like freedom and innovation and good
Or
music.
at least it used to be like that here.
We're all looking forward to seeing you down here in the Aussie sun. I'm 100% certain now. You did mention the 12 step suite before and performing it down under by yourself. Is this something that we could possibly see on the 40th anniversary tour? Are you that bold as to embark on on that particular hurdle live?
Not not this time around. This time around, we want to offer everybody something that's more, covering the whole career of the band. The 12-step suite is a big 60-minute chunk of the show, or it would be. And it would be a little selfish of me to want to kind of take that much of a 3 hour show for something that's such a personal project of mine. And the fact is, last time I was there, I did perform those songs, albeit with another band. And of course, I know the fans and myself as well would love to someday do this with Dream Theater as it was intended all along. But I think it's just a little soon to be thinking of revisiting that just yet. I think we have to make up for lost time with the other stuff first.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of the other stuff, is there anything you're really enjoying being back playing? Perhaps from the early period, the middle period. I don't really mind from which period it comes. Are there songs you're playing on this run that you've missed?
I've missed them all. I mean, it's all fair game to me at this point. I mean, if we were doing this interview in 2010, I would tell you how I was completely bored silly with playing Metropolis or Pull Me Under for the thousandth time. But now, having been away all those years, it's fair game. It's all fresh to me. So I've been enjoying it all. I mean, I don't want to give away the set list too much, but for anybody that's paid attention to what we've played thus far, and we've put out a live release of, the first European leg of the 40th anniversary tour. So anybody that has the live album knows what songs was in that set list. And for that particular set list, it was great coming back to, like Stream of Consciousness and Octavarium. Those were kind of the two longer, deeper cuts that were fun to bring back. And then this past American tour we just wrapped up, we revisited A Change of Seasons, which is actually one of the oldest songs in the band's catalog. It actually dates to pre Images and Words. It was actually written before any of Images and Words was even written. So yeah, that song is about 36 years old at this point. So yeah, coming back to that was quite a trip after all this time.
That's wild. My brain just can't get around the idea of having to relearn so many songs. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
you wouldn't believe it when we started rehearsing A Change of Seasons in rehearsals before the US tour. I sat down and I was like, man, I hadn't played it in 20 years. But the fact that we had written it like 36 years earlier, it was just like boom, like riding a bicycle. It just felt so immediately comfortable to me. I guess like when you have music that is such a big part of you, uh, emotionally, mentally, physically, it's kind of just in there for life, or at least that's the way it is for me.
it's an incredible mind you must have, man. That it's just loaded with drum parts, ready to go.
Yeah, I have an elephant's memory. It's crazy.
That's wild. Now, I've been enjoying your work with Drumeo, and as have a lot of people on our socials. Actually, we shared the the video of you learning one of Danny Carey's parts, and it went gangbusters. Like people absolutely loved it. Is that sort of stuff with Drumeo something you're looking forward to doing more of?
Well, I don't want to overstay my welcome. I could already see it's probably at the point where everyone's like, "All right, enough." How many months was I captured in the Drumeo studio to create all this content? Because we've created so much content between my two visits there. I went there at the end of 2003 for the first time, and then I went there again at the beginning of 25 last year to do more content for them. So there's been so much already. Playing the Tool song or the Nickelback song or the Taylor Swift song or challenging my son Max to learn Honor Thy Father. There's been all these great videos we've done. And honestly, I was scared shitless to go to Drumeo the first time. I would like avoid their emails for years, not wanting to, be put on the spot to go there because I don't consider myself a teacher. I don't do drum clinics or drum instructional videos anymore. I used to do them back in the 90s and the 2000s, but that's kind of not where my head's at anymore. So I was kind of hesitant to go to Drumeo to begin with, but boy, am I glad I did because that content has been so beloved by the viewers all around the world. I go every day I get a comment about that Tool video. No matter where I go, I meet people everywhere every day that talk about it. So it's ended up being a fun thing. Everything Drumeo does is so great for the drum community and even entertaining for people that aren't drummers. So yeah, I'm glad I've done it. I have no plans of going back anytime soon because I don't want to overstay my welcome, but maybe somewhere down the road.
That's brilliant. Well, as we wind up our the interview segment of our time this morning, Mike, I do want to get a definitive answer from you regarding the 40th anniversary tour here. What is the one song? You don't have to give me the entire set list. What is the one song you're most looking forward to bashing out in Australia just to watch Dream Theater fans lose their minds that you're playing that?
I'm not going to give it away. If I give it away, then they're not going to lose their mind. I personally, I never want to know a set list before coming to a show. I hate that. So I'm not the type that like looks up set lists before I go to see a band I like. To me, the whole excitement is not knowing.
Yep.
So, between the live album we put out from Paris from the 40th anniversary show, that gives away a lot within itself. So there's going to be a lot of changes to that show for this tour.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be the one to give away setlist spoilers for those that don't want to know it. It's more fun not knowing.
A man of principle. I love it. I love seeing people stick to their word, or their images and words even. I did that for my mom. As we venture out of this segment, just everyone make sure you get out to the 40th anniversary run by Dream Theater Down Under. Commences on Tuesday, the 10th of February in Adelaide. Makes its way through Melbourne and Sydney before winding up in Brisbane. It's going to be a full catalogue overview of the run of Dream Theater through the last 40 years, and it seems very, very exciting for all fans. Mike, thanks for talking to me in this interview here. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you down under. I'll be in Melbourne on the 12th.
Excellent. See you then.
All right, so I'm going to stop the